Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroladaOfficial, and backed by popular demand is the evolutionary astrologer Mila, who will talk to us about the Pluto square, the North Node, and the South Node, which is just happening this summer already, because so many people were asking specifically about this event. Hello, Mila.
Hello, Lada. Nice to be back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. After our first interview, you had like 200 orders or something.
It's been a busy month.
Oh, I'm so glad people obviously resonate with what you have to say and with evolutionary astrology. And I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about the current times and the examples that you have prepared for us as from evolutionary astrology.
Yes, let's dive in. Would you like me to share the screen?
Oh, yes, that'd be great.
Okay.
So just to ask you, now Pluto, both Pluto and the nodes are the most karmic points in evolutionary astrology, like you explained for us before. Pluto always in evolutionary astrology shows past lifetimes and current soul mission. So do the South Node and the North Node. they have very similar meanings. So what is the importance of what is happening now? This is the chart of the square, yeah?
This is the chart of the nodal shift. So I put it right there on the, well, this is, of course, where I am located in Bansko, Bulgaria. And this is on the 17th of July. And it's actually the day of the new moon in Cancer. On the same day, we will have the nodal shift. And this is something that occurs only once every 18 months. So we will have the North Node moving into the sign of Aries. As we can see here, the North Node is on a 0 degrees and 0 minutes, and the South Node is in a 0 degrees, 0 minutes of the Libra, and the nodes will remain here until January 2025. So this is huge thing because Aries is all about new beginning, and the North Node is moving into the sign of Aries. And interestingly, on that day, Mars already is in the sign of Virgo, and the next nodal shift will be into the Virgo and Pisces axis, which I personally might believe is that this will be the time when we will be closing the chapter of these 2000 years of Pisces conditioning, which made people feel very disempowered because the power was externalized. And now with the North Node moving into the sign of Aries, the attention will be on I am, on every single one of us. And I feel that more and more people will be searching for themselves, like who am I, what is my purpose and destiny. And interestingly, on this day when the nodes will shift, Sun still is squaring the nodes. So we will have Sun and Pluto in opposition, and both Pluto is squaring the nodes and the Sun is squaring the nodes. And the exact square between Sun and the nodes is actually happening just before that. But it's still valid because we give the 10-degree orb in evolutionary astrology for the squares. So just to start where you wanted me to start, Pluto as the desire for incarnation is while the soul wants to come and incarnate, and the South Node is where we coming from. Also, usually it is very similar by the beginning of our life in this incarnation. So many people are going through similar themes of where we left off in previous lifetimes. I always say to my clients that it's kind of like the soul put the breadcrumbs and was incarnated into the family to make sure that I don't forget what I came here to do. And usually is the opposite. It's usually to move away, but it's not like we're going to forget about the South Node. We want to integrate, like put a new layer on the top of it, because the North Node is the evolutionary potential. And why are we talking about the squares to the nodes? Because in evolutionary astrology, the squares to the nodes, it's called skip step. Because this is not in everyone's chart. This is like it depends on where the soul is on their evolutionary path. And if there is a square to the nodes, it means the planet that squares the nodes, it's something that the soul, the person in previous incarnation, was not paying so much attention to. It was kind of like underdeveloped, or the planet didn't have an opportunity to express itself fully. So that's why in this lifetime, there is a square to the nodes, if a person has it in their chart, to make sure that the person pays a huge attention, because if there is a skip step, we need to integrate the planet in order to go from the South Node to the North Node, or to integrate. So this is something that is important, and that's why many people, if they go like, okay, well, I'm trying to work on my North Node, moving away from my South Node, but there is something tripping me up, And usually that means that there is a skip step, which means that there is something, a certain area of person's life, which was undeveloped in a past life. And collectively, right now, we have Pluto squaring the nodes for the entire year, but the exact square is actually happening, it's happening 3 times, on the 23rd, 25th, and 28th of July, because on the 23rd of July, the North Node will square Pluto. On the 25th of July, it's Pluto squaring the nodes. And on the 28th of July, it's again the North Node squaring Pluto once more. And then, then the orbs, it will become wider. So it will not be exact anymore, but it will remain active for the remainder of the year. And what this means for us collectively, so if the planet is retrograde, as Pluto is at the moment, until I believe 11th of October, if planet is a retrograde in a chart, that means accelerated path of evolution. So currently Pluto is retrograde. During the time when it's going to square the nodes exactly, it will still be retrograde. And I mean, it's on 29 degrees, which is the karmic degree. As we know, 29 and 0 degrees, the karmic degrees. And this is also representing that us as a collective are on an accelerated path of evolution. And with the skip step and the square to the nodes, we also always look for the resolution node, which is the one that is on the left side from the planet. So if you stand on the planet and you're facing the nodes, the one that is on your left-hand side is the resolution, which in this case is the south node. Oh. And that has been the case for the entire year, because South Node just moved out of Scorpio. So the Scorpio up till the point when the node shift was the resolution, which is looking into the past, Scorpio, as the past conditioning, what makes us feel disempowered. We need to take our power back. And now the South Node is moving into the sign of Libra. So what we will be trying to resolve is our relationship, how we've been conditioned to relate, or how we even relating to one another. But having South Node moving into the sign of Libra is actually, well, I mean, obviously, I don't want to put anything out there into the ether, but a lot of people will redefine what they need in a relationship and potentially even walk away if it doesn't make them feel empowered or doesn't serve anymore, or if people are in a relationship just because of, like a mortgage or children or something, but they don't feel that they're growing anymore, they're evolving, they're happy, they don't feel that they're following their purpose, then this South Node might potentially dissolve it, because South Node is making us to correct whatever no longer serves us and make us feel stuck because of the skip step, which in this case is Pluto. And Pluto is accelerated path of evolution. Pluto wants us to go and evolve and fulfill whatever is the desire. And in this case is a collective desire. And Pluto is on the 29 degrees of Capricorn. So this is a theme of 15 years since 2008. And Pluto is just about to shift into the sign of Aquarius, which will start this 20-year path of accelerated evolution for us collectively. But before Pluto gets there, we needed to acknowledge what makes us feel disempowered, connected to the past. And now for these upcoming 18 months, we will have to face what is making us feel disempowered with regards to the other, which is any kind of relationship. But of course, the relationship of the people that are closest to us as an intimate relationship, that's when we will feel it the most.
Wow, this is beautiful how you describe it. It carries a lot of, because Pluto is the skip step collectively and individually currently, and especially people that have planets around those degree or ascendant or midheaven. And the Pluto energy is very much about unresolved trauma, that I believe that the square seems like it's going to, some people might have like an emotional explosions, that is some trauma that's suppressed that comes to the surface like a volcano energy. And it seems like Pluto is very much about losing one's innocence and recognizing and starting to recognize there is evil as well. I know New Age is all about peace, love, and whatever, but we've been progressively seeing that there are evil forces as well. They're also bidding the work for the collective evolution on the highest level. Even the evil energies are serving the purpose of evolution and so on. But and Rudolf Steiner, one of the biggest esoteric masters of the last century, he said that currently in this time of consciousness development of humanity, because every 2,000 years, what we develop is very different from the previous 2000 years based on the precession of the equinoxes. And he said for the current humanity that we're going to learn is to recognize evil and to empower ourselves against it. And it really started since Pluto entered Capricorn from 2000. It accelerated with Pluto-Saturn conjunction when the COVID started. And now so many people are aware that there are some forces that are anti-human, I would almost say. But they're also the shadow within us that and if we were innocent till now, living in this kind of la-la land, now we're becoming aware. And Pluto is a planet of survival as well. How do I protect myself in the face of existential danger? I mean, there is in anything, what they're spraying, what we're eating, what they're putting in the food, what there is, what we're consuming through our eyes, everything can be an attack on the soul and the physical body. So a lot of people are becoming aware of those really Plutonian dark topics. And I think now it's peaking, just like exactly like you spoke about that. But sorry for interrupting. I was just fascinated.
No. This is actually just brought a lot of downloads for me because, as you probably know, because I know that you are into all sorts of esoteric things, Capricorn actually represents the devil energy in a tarot. And we had the full moon in Capricorn only a few days ago when we recording this, just past Monday. And was a culmination of something that potentially started last Christmas, but this is also culmination of this transit of Pluto through the Capricorn since 2008. And as we can see, everything that has been hiding under the surface, like the things, we weren't talking about or thinking about anymore, like human trafficking, child trafficking, all these kind of things, suddenly they're coming to the surface. Exactly. And this, which you were mentioning about the darkness of Pluto, it's literally, as you said, everyone in this reality plays a role. This is a planet of duality and polarity, and we are learning through this experience, like Gemini, like the messenger is connecting the visible world, and we need to have the experience of the shadow to experience the light. And also everything is coming to the surface because it wants to be healed. Because before the North Node moves into the sign of Pisces, more things will have to be purged. It has to come to the surface. That's why Pluto is squaring the South Node. South Node in Libra also represents justice. Libra is also the society. It's like everyone that is the other, that is not you. So I really feel that now throughout this transit, and also because Pluto is culminating on the 29th degree of Capricorn, is literally this last push of everything that was, for many people, they didn't even know it exists. And now suddenly it's coming to the surface because it needs to be healed. It needs to be integrated because, as you said yourself, that all this darkness that's going on outside in the world, it's a reflection of us because we are one human collective. And if there is something happening in some part of the world and all this is still going on, that means that it's still unhealed within us. And that's why it needs to come to the surface. It's like, and you have little children. So it's like when the children are afraid there is something hiding in a wardrobe or under the bed, and you need to go and shine the torch and say, there is nothing to worry about. And to me, it's pretty much now Pluto squaring the nodes is literally, we have to face everything that we wanted to hide away from, everything that we swept under the carpet for centuries and decades and everything. And now it's all coming to the surface because it wants to be purged, it wants to be healed. And the ruler of Pluto, Saturn, is in retrograde. It's in Pisces. It's in retrograde. Also, Neptune is now in retrograde. And Saturn is the ruler of Pluto. Neptune is the ruler of Saturn. And Pisces is the sign of the end of the cycle. So as a human collective, we literally are ending the past cycles. But first, before we move into the new cycle, we need to heal the past. We need to face what needs healing, because if it's hiding, we don't know it's there. And then it's like the subconscious mind, like it's controlling our life because it's unconscious. We don't know it's there. So I feel personally that with everything that's going on at the moment and will continue to go on, we need to purge. We need to shine the light onto it so it can be integrated. And that's why the things that majority of people had no clue about in these 15 years, they start coming to the surface. And now it seems there is more and more darkness coming up. But I always say, there is no accident in the universe. So the fact that so much darkness is becoming conscious, it means that there is a lot of light present. So we as a human consciousness, we are ready. We are now ready to face this darkness so it can be integrated, so we can start this new age of Aquarius, which will completely transform human collective as we know it now. It will be a completely different world in 20 years' time.
Absolutely, it's incredible. And today I was looking at Pluto, the backward constellations. These are the signs that we're looking.
Yes.
But Pluto this year and the next 3-4 years is moving in this area where you look at the constellations, it passes exactly between the horns of the goat. And the horns of the goat are the symbol of Pan and the symbol of the horn one and Satan as we know it, not by mistake. It's, they use symbology, whoever is in power of the world and controls. And of course, they've appropriated the symbol of the goat. And first, Jupiter and Saturn conjunct there at that degree, within 1 degree of where Pluto is now. That's when they introduce, therapeutics. And that's when, the whole COVID thing was happening.
Yes, yes.
And now Pluto is reactivating exactly that degree. And a lot of dirt and secrets. And of course, the horns of the goat are very occult point. They're known in ancient astrology as giving occult powers. Occult powers can be positive or negative. They can be used for destruction. They can be used for creation. And obviously, some parts of the world are using this Pluto activation right now, and the nodes activating Pluto for destructive purposes. Others are using the light forces. And normal people, I believe, is because normal people are very much normal people that want to do good, that they want to heal themselves, and they're doing tremendous, they would call it psychological purging. It's almost like a cult purging for me, like a cult transformation, alchemical transformation that Pluto on those degrees can do. And I'm not going to interrupt you anymore. I want to hear everything else you have to say.
No, I really enjoy it because I like how we bounce in ideas of each other and then more downloads come in. And I really feel that these our generations, your Pluto in Libra, there's Pluto squared your generation's Pluto during the transit in Capricorn, and my generation Pluto in Scorpio. Pluto is going to square our Pluto, natal Pluto. And I really feel that especially our 2 generations, I mean, I have some clients I had few that are Pluto Leo, but I have some from Pluto Virgo who are also working on this. But as we talked about in our past video about my dad, there are a lot of people in the Pluto Virgo generation. They don't want to change. They just want to put the blinkers on, and like, okay, nothing to do with us. So I really feel that our 2 generations, Pluto Libras and Pluto Scorpio, literally have no choice. We have no choice because we are too young to say, I don't care, nothing to do with me. And we just have to transmute, because also the charts of the children, and I'm sure you're familiar with your children's chart, but these 2 generations, they have a completely new karma. They didn't come here to burn the karma of the previous million generation. That's our job. And then these new generations, they are the builders of the new earth. These are the gurus and these are the leaders of the new earth. And that's why I feel that especially our generations, these 2 generations, are going through a lot of purging, because also from evolutionary astrology, when we have Pluto squared Pluto, it's like the death of ego. Everything that makes you feel disempowered, we usually have to face, because we have to transmute it, to take our power back, to go through this metamorphosis process. And I remember even you mentioning that now that you've had your own Pluto square Pluto, it's not easy, but you feel like stronger than ever, because when you're on the other side of it, you feel lighter. You feel like, oh my God, I purged so much. And now it created space for these new experiences to come in.
It's more like your innocence is taken away, and for a bit you're horrified by what you see, the raw nakedness of it. And then because it carries around 2 years, the square, you learn how to empower yourself in the face of this new raw and darker reality that you realize exists. So it no longer scares you. And now turn of the Pluto and Scorpio generations to reveal and to encounter a lot of those darker hidden shadow parts of themselves and of the world, and to integrate them back through awareness, through revealing the truth to others. So I'm giving the baton to your generation, Pluto.
Yeah, thank you. My Pluto square is coming.
I'm going into light mode. Pluto will be
Yes, because
trying.
exactly, it's gonna try
Oh,
your
peace
Pluto.
from now on.
And you know what you were saying about this integration, because Saturn, which is the structure of our reality, the matrix, you know, is the last visible planet. So it's like I always say that you know, the Sagittarius is before the Capricorn, because whatever you believe, you're gonna manifest. Because literally our belief system are manifesting our reality, because Capricorn and the you know, Saturn has the ability to turn the formless into form, is the manifester. And that's why Saturn currently is in a sign of Pisces, because it's helping us to dissolve, which no longer holds a meaning, which lost meaning. Also Pluto 29 degrees. 29 degrees is the end of the sign, the anaretic degree, the, you know, the karma. And also Neptune, which is the ultimate meaning of life. Neptune currently is retrograde, Saturn retrograde. So this is giving us the opportunity to go back over the past, literally to go like have the opportunity to make a new choices under the same circumstances, to heal the past. And the whole point of this is to become whole again, because Pluto, once it moves into the sign of Aquarius again, it will be ruled by Uranus. And actually when Pluto moves into the sign of Aquarius, Uranus will still be retrograde for another few days, and then it will station direct in January. But Uranus, from evolutionary astrology point of view, represents the subconscious trauma, the things that we experience, whether in this lifetime, past lifetime, which we couldn't deal with, because we didn't have the tools, we didn't have the experience to process it. So Uranus is this thing that is frozen in time. So once Pluto moves into the sign of Aquarius,
of personality, because Uranus has this disruptive energy, just like if a child is abused, they split personality,
yes,
dissociation. They dissociate.
yes,
That's very Uranian, yeah.
fragmentation of the
Fragmentation.
soul. And I
Exactly.
really feel that right now, even based on the clients that I have spoken to, a lot of people are going through this, in a sense, maybe being re-triggered or re-traumatized, because the soul wants to become whole again, because we want to go through the experiences or be reminded of the experiences that made us disassociate, as you mentioned, or fragment. And now the soul wants to become whole again. So we need to, as my very good friends say, we need to feel it to heal it. We cannot heal it without feeling it. And currently, you know, the sun is still, I mean, this is obviously chart for 17th of July, but even now as we speak, sun is in Cancer and moon is the ruler. And as moon travels around the zodiac, because moon, she spends only 2.5 days in one sign, it's literally touching every single thing in each and every single one of our charts, making aspect to everything. And it's kind of bringing all these different aspects of our life, of our reality, and making us feel it. Like, okay, is this area of my life healthy? Is this something I need to look at and I need to feel and integrate? Because also Mercury at the moment today is still in a sign of Cancer. And actually right today, as we're making this video, Mercury made a square to Chiron. And Chiron is this collective wounding, is this, we want to go in this new direction, but there is so much insecurity and so much fear of the unknown, because we were programmed and conditioned that, oh, you know, you have to stay within your limits. Like, you know, like this Capricorn, like between Capricorn and Aries, you have a square, because like, oh, you think you can go in this new direction? Well, you don't know what it looks like. You don't have this definition of it, but we have to trust ourselves. And that's what the North Node moving into the sign of Aries is going to help us to connect with, this desire, this instinctual desire that is within each and every single one of us. Like when we were children, that, you know, when you ask your little child, what do you like? They give you the answer. They don't have to think about it, because there is very little conditioning when they are little. And then, you know, you ask them what they want to be when they grow up. They tell, I want to be a Superman or Batman or something. You know, they don't have this conditioning of like, oh, don't be stupid, that's not possible or something. And a lot of us, when we gone through childhood, we were not being said, oh, you can be whatever you want to be, just go and follow your purpose and trust your intuition. No, they said, oh, well, this is what you have to do, you know, like the conditioning. And that's why so many people, like right now, especially our two generations, well, I mean, all the generation up to here, we are insecure, because a lot of people, they don't even know who they are. They don't know what they want, because when they were little, they were said, don't be silly, you can't be this. They had this desire, their intuition was telling them, I want to do this. And somebody, some adult, the authority, external of us told them, you can't do that, you can't do that because that's not possible. And then that created, the trauma, the program which we're trying to unprogram for the rest of our lives. And I really feel with the North Node moving now into the sign of Aries, and actually, during the day when the nodes shift, Sun is making the square to the nodes also, and the resolution is the North Node. So the North Node is saying that I need to actually focus on myself. I need to go back in where I was little and innocent, as you said. What did I want to become when I grow up, before everybody else told me that you cannot be that, you cannot do that? And I feel that's why so many people are either on antidepressants or have problem with any sort of addiction, because we are trying to numb the pain. We are trying to escape because we lost the connection with ourselves. And now throughout this transit of Saturn through Pisces until 2026, and also Neptune until 2026, we have this opportunity to call these aspects of ourselves back and understand what no longer gives us meaning, and go back to what maybe one day did and we forgot. And it's all happening simultaneously, because I always say all the planets, they are like in exactly perfect places to support each other, to achieve this energy, to give us this energy to support us on our evolutionary path. And to me, it's just beautiful. And also with the Mars, the Mars is how Pluto acts consciously, because Pluto is unconscious. Mars is very conscious because it's a personal planet. Mars is in Virgo. What Virgo means? Well, we need to go and investigate. We need to discern. We need to learn and adjust. We need to heal. So I really feel that is giving us a lot of breadcrumbs. The chart is giving us a lot of breadcrumbs.
I love what you said, that the square of the nodes with Pluto, especially since the node is in Aries, Pluto is in Capricorn, when this is happening, it's what it will be this escalation, and it's happening for us of what's been we've been conditioned into, which is Capricornian energy, that's old, crusted, or what we fear, of course. And Capricorn has a lot of great qualities.
Yes, of course.
It's given us safety, stability, but it's this big clash between those karmic lines, what is safe and what we're conditioned to, versus what is the new, and the new roles, because Aries is new roles that you can play, that you can give yourself. So thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. It's wonderful.
And I also wanted to mention that, as you mentioned, every sign has the positive and the higher vibration and the lower vibration, how they act. And, with the Capricorn and, well, the Saturn, once Saturn moves into the sign of Aries, it will be the opportunity for us to become our own authority. So Saturn, it represents our emotional maturity and becoming our own authority. So again, Saturn going through the sign of Pisces is making us to feel into the past and to go over what no longer resonates and has a meaning for us. And then when Saturn moves into the sign of Aries, we'll have the opportunity to start building this new reality for ourselves, but we have to take a responsibility for it. And that's why I feel, especially now, during Cancer season, and all these shifts are happening during Cancer season, it's so important to reconnect with ourselves. And also with the Cancer, it's to go back family line. Maybe there is a healing that needs to happen, like perhaps family constellation or something like that, because we need to resolve the past in order to move into the future, because otherwise we're taking it with us. So in order to become the authority in our life, the driver behind behind the driving wheel, we need to achieve an emotional maturity and also safety and security within. We need to, because as you said, the main problem is that everything has been externalized. We've been taught since young age, you cannot trust yourself. You go and speak to the specialist, somebody who is, more educated than you or whatever. But I always say that it's like when you go to grocery, well, if you go and you want to grow your own vegetables, you go and buy the seed. And the seed knows exactly what it's going to become. If you're going to buy a seed to be a carrot, it's going to be a carrot. It's not going to be a melon. And it's the same thing. And each and every single one of us has the seed in our crystalline DNA. We are born with the seed, just like everything in nature. It knows exactly what it's going to become. So for us to go to someone else, for me to go to someone else and tell them, hey, what is my purpose and destiny? What am I here to do? How anybody else is supposed to know? The seed is within you. So that's why all this is happening right now, to actually, like the South Node in Libra, you have to stop looking up to someone else. You need to internalize your own authority. And for that, we need to like reconnect with ourselves, with our intuition, with our childlike innocence, with our inner child, with our sense of purpose and destiny. And we need to achieve this emotional self-reliance. With the Taurus, it was material self-reliance. We need to understand that we are the asset, that I am worthy, I deserve, and I can create everything I want because I have I have the tools in my hands, because I am, like the physical body is the tool to create everything you want. And now with this Cancer, it's all about emotional self-reliance. But in order for us to feel emotional self-reliant, we have to trust ourselves, because it doesn't work any other way. And that then creates the path to this emotional maturity, because that's the opposition, the integration point. 180 degrees always represents integration point. So when we learn to become connected with ourselves emotionally and safe and secure within, so we don't externalize it, square to Libra, we don't externalize it, we don't go to someone else to make us feel safe,
I
because we
love
know how
what
that...
you said. I love what you said before we started a conversation, because you said you say to people that you're not gonna tell them. What exactly did you say to me? That
Yeah, I don't tell them what is the sense of purpose. Like, I never tell any of my clients what they're supposed to do, because evolutionary astrology is about self-empowerment. If I'm going to tell my clients what I want them to do or what I think they should do, then they still externalizing their power. They telling me that I'm like better than them in a sense, and I know what they don't know. But I can't know about anybody else's destiny, because it's within each and every single one of
what did
us.
you say? That you are a facilitator of what? How did you express it?
I
When we
just, well, I mean, before we started talking, how I said to you that I'm a tuning fork for light workers. Is that what you mean?
Okay, yes, that was the thing.
Yeah. That's how I feel, because I sometimes even feel, well, I'm not an astrologer. I just use astrology as a tool for connection and to help people to reconnect with themselves. I just create a self space when I tell them what I see in a chart, and I just validate their own experience, and then they feel more empowered because somebody actually gives them the permission to be who they are, and then they just go and do what they feel is the right thing for them. But I never tell anybody what to do, because that's the South Node in Libra. That's the resolution. The resolution to the skip step is the South Node in Libra. You don't go to someone else to tell you how to live your life, because you become your own authority. The seed is within you. And when you listen to that seed, eventually it's gonna sprout, and it's gonna reveal the purpose, like the Leo, the purpose. What is your purpose? What is your destiny? Every single one of us came here to creatively self-actualize in a way that is unique to each and every single one of us.
Mhm. So I noticed something when you speak about the water signs, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, you always refer to the past. So in evolutionary astrology, the water signs are connected with the past.
Not necessarily, but I also feel that we need to go back to where we started, because that's where a lot of the emotions, come from, and also a lot of emotions got suppressed. So I don't know, like I never thought about it that way, because it doesn't just represent the past, but I just feel that emotions are strongly connected to past, because through our emotions, because they are the messengers, they are like the messengers from the past, but it's the present as well. But I feel that the way that we learn about what is unhealed from the past is through the emotions, which is the water. So that's why I think I don't know, sometimes I just say things that come to my head, but that's usually how I do my readings. I see it in the chart after I hear it in my head because I channel most of the time. So yeah, but it's interesting that you pointed it out, because I never thought about it. I just say what comes to me.
It's 3 times when you were talking about South Node in Scorpio, you talked about going back, Saturn in Pisces, you talked about what is past again, and Moon and Sun in Cancer, you spoke about the past again and going back to the child. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, because that's where it all began. So if we are not where we want to be right now, then something got lost on the path. So we need to go back and retrieve it.
wonderful. So thank you so much, Mila. By the way, if you want to have a reading with Mila, and again, she's not gonna tell you what to do. She's gonna facilitate you to find it on your own, to confirm what you're going through yourself, and to make you feel seen and But she's got very affordable readings. I'll put the link below in the description and in cards if you'd like to have a personal reading with her. She has a few options that you can choose from. And we were talking that we should make an interview in the future about what retrograde planets mean in evolutionary astrology. So that, like, for example, you mentioned this time that Pluto retrograde means accelerated path of evolution, because usually we associate retrograde planet with something that slowed down, not accelerated, and that's an interesting point.
It is slowing us down, but it's slowing us down to integrate the understanding. So it's also like slowing us down to go back over something that maybe we just got, in a sense, like, you know, when something just gets like we get too comfortable and we don't even realize that, oh, this is not working for me anymore, but I keep doing it because it's comfortable, and it's kind of just like, you know, we just in this rut in a sense. So when the planet goes retrograde, which is obviously just, you know, illusion from the planet Earth, it gives us an opportunity to go over it and say like, oh, actually, am I still growing by, you know, by doing this? And then when it goes forward, it has much more understanding and knowledge than it had before, because otherwise we just go on autopilot forward. But sometimes we need to go back to realize that actually, am I going in the right direction? And in the natal chart, when the planet is retrograde, it means an accelerated path of evolution.
Thank you so much, Mila. I think that we covered beautifully. You covered beautifully Pluto square the notes with so much downloads. Maybe we can also do another interview where you show us in the future skip steps, planet squaring the notes, what it means for the person, like with story.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's not make this video like too long.
Yeah.
That's one topic we covered, which is very present, very important for the current time, how this is very evolutionary, pivotal time for many people where they will integrate shadows, resolve past traumas. Maybe crisis can happen because Pluto is very powerful. I mean, it's the skip step, but that's what leads to evolution. What did you say? Accelerated evolution.
Yes, because Pluto is forcing us at the moment on collective and individual basis to face everything that is still hiding in the shadow and making us feel disempowered because we are afraid of it. So what Pluto really does is just literally everything that we are afraid of is probably going to bring us to our consciousness, like it brings us to our experience, because it's you need to make yourself powerful in this situation. And then it's, in a sense, that's the metamorphosis process. You know, the Scorpio represents the metamorphosis process, because when we face that which we were afraid of before and we get to the other side of it, then you are not afraid anymore. And then you can just face anything that comes your way. And that's what Pluto now on the 29 degrees of Capricorn is helping us to understand, that we can never like feel truly in control of our life if there are still these things we are afraid of. So it's like, okay, well, let me just show you, and then you can find your own way, because like we mentioned, we are the creators, we are the manifestors, and we create our reality. So also we have to be aware of that, because otherwise we're going to create things that we don't want to create. So that's why Pluto is now making us understand how powerful we are, and it's in our own hands to change things. If you want change, the change starts with you. So it goes back to this Cancer. You just need to trust yourself. You need to connect with yourself, with your intuition, with your sense of purpose and destiny, become your own authority, and then you're not afraid anymore.
Beautiful. I had a similar experience just a few days ago, because Pluto is on my ascendant and the nodes is squaring it within 1 degree. And I had like a metaphysical experience, and I saw entities that I've always been afraid from Ahrimanic and Soratic, but I realized what they were, and it's a bit, no one will understand what I'm talking about, but I saw what they're trying to do and how they're gonna try and do it, and it was almost like I couldn't believe, but my fear went away because I confronted those. I saw actually how they looked. I know they don't have a physical form, those entities, but they can take symbolic physical forms. And I had this experience, and it was it broke this big fear that I have from that. But at the same time, I saw what the plan was, which I've never had such experiences before. So it's very fascinating for me. I'm just still integrating, trying to realize what happened.
Yeah, that must have been very
square the notes.
But it's literally becoming like, you know, like when they said that you will go where even the devil is afraid to go, because now you faced everything. And in a sense,
don't want to cohabit with such entities. But they're really trying
but
to take over
the
the
main
world.
thing is that you weren't afraid, because I had a psychic attack while I was in Mexico when I was asleep at night, and Mexico was on my Pluto line, Puerto Vallarta, where I was staying last winter. And I had a psychic attack, and I got very mad. I got so angry. Like I could literally feel like this something was trying to crush me, and especially it was attacking my spinal cord where the chakras are. But instead of me being, I got mad. I was like, get off me. And then it just disappeared. And then I contacted my shaman, my mentor, and she said that there was nothing attached to me because I wasn't afraid, because that's what they leech on.
When you
they
panic,
leech on the fear.
they get inside, and they exactly, because I had when Pluto transit after COVID, 3 months of panic attacks, and I kept saying to my husband, it's as if they're saying long COVID or whatever. No, I felt like I was like there were entities attacking, like the Dementors from Harry Potter, like they were sucking all the life force from me, and like someone was lying here. It felt it around the heart area and taking all joy from life and just putting dread in. It was the most scary experience in my life, and it carried on for months on periods. The only thing that helped me was saying loudly prayers, protective prayers, and just reading rosaries, and it would ease off. But it was a battle for life. And this time, it was nothing physical. I did not experience them physically. I just saw what they were trying to do. It's like I almost saw how they're trying to hijack reality. I've never had metaphysical experiences before, but Pluto activated those things. So
but you see, like that's why I feel that it's so powerful for people that are going now through these healing processes, and people like, like people that seek this kind of readings, because the more people become aware and strong within themselves, that they trust themselves, they reconnect themselves, they understand their own power, like inner stand, because this is something that is not really consciously being understood. The more we create this light force, literally the force of light, that is then can integrate the shadow, that can literally send the love and healing light to the shadow. So that's why I feel that it's so important for people to go through these dark nights of the soul, because then they become these warriors of light. And together, literally together, the power is in numbers, we can do it. And also, when people will transmute that darkness within themselves, then there will be no place for this anymore, because everything is here to
because you
teach
see it,
us.
recognize it, and saying you're not of me, go away.
Exactly.
Absolutely, like what you did. You felt the attack, and you're like, you're not of Christ, you're not of God, you're not of me, go away.
Yeah, like get off me.
Oh, that's scary.
So yeah,
thank you so much, Mila, on this very empowering message. Again, thank you for the contribution. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by and listening to this very deep topic. I hope you have your own healings crisis, hopefully without the crisis happening. And for me, it's like almost like a karmic resolution that a lot of people can find out now, with that escalates during those next couple of months while the square is active. So thank you very much again. If you'd like to contact
thank you, Lada.
is below, have a personal reading with her, or ask a question or whatever.
Yeah, thank you for so much. It's always a pleasure to connect, always a pleasure to chat, and I love discussing this topic with light-minded Aquarius rising.
Thank you. Me too. We always like feed off each other and spark up. Wonderful. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Bye.